Welcome back to sports, everyone. I'm Chaz Mesman. Last season, the Yuma Catholic Shamrocks ran through the 4A division, all the way to the state title game, but falling just a few yards short of a state title. This year's team is using that extra motivation to try and bring a ring back to YC for the first time in a decade.
It's very motivating because now we're a little humbled. We know what's at stake. And
it just reminds us that we got to work harder in practice.
We have something to prove this season, and we're just going for that state title.
The Shamrocks are returning 3,000-yard passer Nash Ott this season, but the junior has had to re-earn the starting gig this year because of a young buck pushing for his job.
Definitely growing, and he's got somebody that's just nipping at his heels right now in Scout Reese too. So we've got a tough quarterback competition, which you hope that brings the best out in people.
The high-flying Shamrock offense will feature one of the most dynamic receiving duos in the country, in Daryl Coleman and Sir Stokes.
Like me and Sir been doing this since we were little. We played flag football together, so that's what we've been thinking. It's just enjoyable. It's very talented, so we bring upon a lot of stuff to the table every single day.
But none of that will matter if the Shamrocks don't sort out things in the trenches.
We're just trying to figure out what's going to happen with our offensive line. We're not 100% happy with how that's going yet, so all too often other teams are always worrying about the receivers and what they're doing there, and they don't understand that the passing game starts with the offensive line. So we've got to solve those issues. But if we do, we've got a couple of deadly weapons out there, no doubt.
Another challenge the Rocks face is replacing Tate Ford, who last season rushed for over 1,400 yards.
A lot of people say we can't replace Tate Ford, but I think that we can come pretty close to doing what he did with the key players that we have. So
we got good running backs. We got Benton Beck and Hunter and me. We'll all be rotating, so it won't be too much of a loss. We all have our different attributes that we're better at, and we'll see what it takes us.
Defensively, the Shamrocks are led by our 2023 Friday Night Lights Defensive Player of the Year, linebacker Rocky Stallworth, and a veteran secondary.
The strengths is communication, and we're all veterans mostly. We got the mentality of we just need to stop everyone from putting any points on the board.
Our secondary is pretty well coached, well developed. We've been here all 4 years, so we kind of already know what it's like. So we're ready to go out there and put it all to display. We know we're aggressive, we know we'll get after it, and it's going to be hard to beat, so we're looking forward to that.
The Shamrocks are set to face an absolute gauntlet of a schedule this season, starting with this stretch here. Versus Salinas, then at Thatcher, and on the road at AZ College Prep. Back-to-back weeks against teams that made the postseason last year. That's 3 of the 6 that the Shamrocks are set to face this season, but head coach Rhett Stallworth knows that all of these challenges are going to pay off in the long run.
So you've got to play tough teams. It's not necessarily, hey, can you go 14-0? It's just where you finish. So
the Shamrocks haven't won a state championship since 2014, and that was in Division 5. Since that time, the Rocks' success has moved them into tougher competition, competing in the 3A and most recently now the 4A division.
Well, it's the old iron sharpens iron.
As one of the smallest schools in those divisions, the Rocks have reached the state title game in 4 of the past 6 seasons.
So we understand that we're going to have some road bumps. We understand that we're going to play some really tough teams, but it's going to make us better. It's going to let us know where we sit, let us know what we have to do to win a state championship.
The Rocks are focused on using the past failures as fuel to push forward and complete the ultimate mission, a state championship.
And that's the thing. A lot of kids that are leaders by example, and now we're looking for those guys that reach out and grab somebody else and pull them with them.
The Shamrocks campaign opens on Friday when they welcome in Marcos Deniza to Ricky Gwem Stadium. For highlights of that game and all the others across the desert Southwest, make sure to tune into Friday Night Lights only on News 11. To the volleyball court now, where the 7-1 Brawley Wildcats welcomed in the Gila Ridge Hawks in what would be the Hawks season opener. Early in the first set, Brawley up 4. Destiny Perez sets for Brianna Rebelar, who smashes it off the face of a Hawk for the kill. A few points later, Rebelar tries to kill once again, but Jaden Ducharme keeps it alive. Addison Wright with a little dink over the net, and it's down for a Gila Ridge point. Later in the set, Ducharme sends it over, but a little bit of quick thinking from Rebelar, and she picks out the back corner for another Brawley point as they take the first set. To the second now, Adriana Garcia sets for Lacey Haxton, who blows it by the Wildcats for the point. Gila Ridge started off hot in the second, but Brawley would settle into it. This time it's going to be Revelar setting for Demi Vogel, who finishes it off for the Wildcats. Brawley led by their captain, Revelar, who time and time again was just way too strong for the Hawks. They'd go on to take the second 25-18 before finishing off the 3-0 sweep in the third. Also on the volleyball court tonight, Imperial took down Calipatria on the road in straight sets. Calipat kept it close in the first, but the Tigers would prove to be just too much down the stretch. And that is all we have time for in sports.
The Desert Southwest, training grounds for military,